That's right, guys. We've got one hell of a rival match on our hands. I'm Capitalist. Joining me is Merlini. Merlini, do you think PPD has Cloud9's number here in this match?
I think they got completely outdrafted. Cloud9 did. And
yeah?
They don't really have any anti-push, as the analysts have already said. Maybe LC with her overwhelming odds, but it doesn't really do that much versus Lycanwolves. I don't really see them stopping and surviving past 30.
Yeah, it seems like a very unconventional draft. That last pick, Lycan, though, just seemed to completely make it for Evil Geniuses. I was really wondering where this was going to go. If Lycan was banned out, I have no idea what they were going to go for.
A lot prior to TI.
That's true. And now, there it is, PPD. Fifth pick Lycan, man, completely changing up the draft, gives them so much pushing power, and now gives them a good shot at being able to take down Cloud9, who are running, I feel, a bit more conventional draft here in this current meta, with the Spectre being one of those popular carries in the game right now. Legion Commander has shown to be a formidable offlaner as the newest hero in the patch, and the Brewmaster, I mean, a Fata favorite right there.
I mean, yesterday I was talking about Cloud9's weakness is losing 25 minutes in 25 minutes, and this is a really good lineup at just breaking their base very, very early. And C9, they don't have like what we saw from Vici and AA or Saiyan King, anything like that to hold their high ground. And Spectre is just going to have it out for him. The only thing they really have is Fata on the Brewmaster, and he needs to play like an absolute beast to keep them in this game.
Yeah, as you're saying, like Cloud9 are known to be such a strong late game team, especially with being able to always be able to split push. And it seems like this is a very good game for them to go for like a lot of formatting with the Spectre off on the side, farming up, and then being there in the team fight thanks to that ultimate. But Evil Geniuses are displaying so much aggression. What do you think here about this, the one position Visage? We saw it yesterday. How much viability do you think it really has? Last time, as they were saying on the analyst test, they had Zai make that transition from a 4-position Furion into a core.
Well, I think that it's mostly a deny pick for C9 because Aoi plays an amazing one, and they wanted it themselves. They can't ban both Drought and Visage, but to be honest, Fear's Visage is not that impressive. I think he's a lot more impressive on the traditional one rolls, and he has like nice Visage stuns, but he doesn't do what Aoi does with it and get insane farm. He gets good farm, but not insane farm. He also doesn't split push with it all the time, and he also doesn't gank on the other side of the map with it. He just has it in team fights, stuns people, and does damage with it, which is standard, but it's not above and beyond.
So looking at our laning phase, at least from the side of Cloud9, they should be running what I assume to be a defensive tri-lane. I'm not sure if the Skywrath Mage is really going to be committing to sitting here with Legion Commander or not. I mean, it is a pretty formidable dual lane, though. The spam that comes out from both of these heroes, both with the Overwhelming Force mixed in with that Arcane Bolt, it could be a pretty powerful dual lane. It looks like Pylai is going to be making that rotation. So dual lanes with mid Brewmaster. I'm looking like this, and I feel like Evil Geniuses have a pretty good shot at being able to walk away from the laning phase, feeling all right.
I'm actually pretty scared for their dual lane. Like, Skywrath isn't really going to be able to save a tree with boots and then a Grave Chill on top and then a Witch Doctor stun. So I don't actually know if Bone 7 will be able to survive.
Do you think it's best if they just leave Bone 7 alone here in this lane and just have Pylai focus on some of the other lanes?
Well, they had a really good block, so in that sense it's a little bit better, and they did have a ward that blocked the spawn. So since that Observer ward is going to stay up, it looks like, unless PPD has, or Fear has sentries. No one actually has sentries on the Radiant side, so that ward is going to stay up. So because of that, they can kind of control the lane to where they want it to be.
A lot of action here in this top lane where Universe fighting up against the two different heroes without the Skywrath Mage.
Bottom.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be caught out, chasing him into the tower, and with PPD, those monster hits, he's going to be able to claim that first blood. Meanwhile, we have Bone 7 chasing down Fear, will be able to get a return kill at least, but now he's got to try and get out of this situation. He's got boots, so he should have the movement speed to be able to get out. Still, though, 1-for-1 trade in the favor of Evil Geniuses, being able to claim that first blood gold. They did lose their carry, their farming hero for this lane. Bone 7 is kind of going to get caught out here, but of course, if they throw the Leech Seed on him, he didn't even have enough mana. But even if they did, press the attack, a quick way to be able to get a lot of reach in and walk yourself back to the tower.
He does not have a salve, though, so I think he actually might die to neutrals right here. He just bought a TP scroll.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's nice of him to be able to want to put constant pressure on this lane, though. They want the two supports to stay down here, and they want them to at least not pull and not be able to play greedily.
Right, because when you're running a defensive trend lane like this, I mean, you're running 3 different, while they are, all 3 of them have potential to be very strong supports, all of them are kind of level dependent to a point. Obviously, Visage is the one position here is obviously very level dependent, but even like the Witch Doctor and the Train Protector are pretty level dependent. You need to be able to get those high levels of living armor to have a higher impact. Middle lane, Arteezy is going to be gone on here thanks to the double damage of Aoi trying to go in for some blocks. He just fights up against Fada. He knows he's done for, and he will be able to give away a kill to the side of Cloud9. Very happy with that exchange as Aoi comes in with the right timed rotation.
That is a very lucky rune, though. I don't think any other rune yields a kill on him, though. Regen, kind of irrelevant, and the bounty rune had spawned on bottom, so Witch Doctor was actually standing on the bottom. So a fair amount of luck going with C9's way, but sometimes that's exactly what you need.
Cloud9 rotating their 2 heroes over just to make sure they interrupt the pull, making sure there's not that extra experience being fed to evil geniuses, and of course making sure those creeps do not get denied. Bone 7, well, one of them's going to go away with a deny, but he claims the other last hit and will be able to soak up some experience of the neutrals dying as well as they fall. 3 minutes in though, and the laning phase seems to be, I don't know, fairly even for me. Brewmaster sitting at 15-2 up against the Lycan 13-3. We heard the analyst talk about how the melee versus melee matchup for the Brewmaster is pretty much always in the favor of the Brew, but here with the Lycan Wolves, maybe at like level 5, once you have that level 3 summon Wolves, does Lycan actually begin to take an advantage?
Not really, just because he has just so much physical tank ability with Drunken Brawler and Thunderclap reducing attack speed. So I don't really think he can win the lane, unless maybe they control the runes, but C9 has had a better rotation from their supports just because they're always able to play aggressively onto them, whereas EG is just trying to stave off Bone 7 and Pylite from getting too much in the offlane. And I think that having a very aggressive offlaner makes your team that much stronger. We saw last game how ISIS really pushed the secret supports to the limit, and this game is the same with Bone 7. He's like, if you guys aren't here, I'm just going to bully Fear around. And Fear doesn't even have boots yet. I don't know what he's saving up for.
Universe, a bit of harassment coming out from Aoi, just forcing him back as much as possible, but Universe is sitting at level 4.5 so far and has picked up 8 different CS. A pretty good start to his off lane, as the dual lane just really isn't strong enough to keep him completely zoned out. But 2-2 right now. It's just 4 minutes in. It seems to be Spectre is farming well, 20-1 here in this top lane, despite the fact all the harassment of the Bat Rider. Meanwhile, our Visage, maybe due to all the constant aggression, is only sitting at 13-2. A little bit less CS.
That's a really big problem.
Yeah,
he should. The Legion Commander should not have this much farm. He's 12-2. He also died to the neutrals once, and he has a bottle, and he's getting the rune. They've been just doing a much better job of getting the runes. 2-minute rune went to Aoi, gets first blood, and then 4-minute both runes go to C9. Top 1 to Panda, bottom 1 to LC, and they have 2 bottles. They shouldn't be getting this much mileage out of their bottles, especially when they had the roaming tree. And it was called PP Tree for a reason, and it's just not the same hero once was, because it's been hit with a nerf a couple of times, but it still should be enough of a threat that they shouldn't control every single rune.
Right, that right-click damage is just insane. Look at him, he's level 3, and he's sitting at 91 attack damage with the boots and the movement speed advantage he normally has. Bone 7, once again, trying to come in and intercept the pull, but is possibly going to get caught out here as he's kind of trapped in the trees, and all of a sudden, we see Universe is sitting here, easily 3 versus 1, will be able to get that kill as Bone 7 completely overextends himself in a very overzealous play to intercept that neutral pull.
And Spectre is actually going for a phase boost build with a Ring of Protection, so he's not playing terribly greedy in the safe lane, even though Universe has already ditched the lane, and you can't play really greedy because all you need to do is just hope for Lycan not to take down all your T1s, all your T2s, and Roshan, and he just has to go fighter.
So is this the normal phase, like earn maybe a set of drums, just going for early stats as much as possible and a lot of right-click damage? That way you can be as active as possible and not trying to build for that like fast radiance, which means you're very, very exposed in that 15 to 25 minute mark while you're farming it up.
And look at this Observer Ward on bottom. Another Observer Ward that's probably going to stick for the entire duration, too. And that's a really big problem because Bone 7, I mean, the analysts were talking about how Legion Commander is not that great of a hero here. There's ways to counter-engage, and she shouldn't be able to get that much, but she is getting a lot.
Yeah, she's hitting a level 5 right now, and not even needing Pilot Eye's help sometimes. PPD is going to be chased away. He did grab the bounty rune, a little bit of extra nuke damage, but the living armor plus the voodoo restoration will easily make him tanky enough that they cannot pursue. Back to the middle lane, Fada doing a great job, 34-7 compared to the 31-4 on our Lycans. So Fada continues to stay ahead in this lane, but still the Lycan's going to be very happy with the amount of farming he's getting, and this is something that you don't see too often. A very, very early farming of the Ancient. That's the big advantage, right, of the Lycan. When you see the one position Lycan, oftentimes he will completely abandon the lane at a certain point to go full-time jungle to give some room to some of those supports. It's always the advantage of the Lycan that you can take advantage of the neutrals much earlier than many other heroes.
And C9's wars just have been a lot better. There's this one observer ward on the left side that's probably used to check for smoke ganks from the Skywrath and the Dazzle wrapping around to kill Universe, but Universe hasn't really come under any pressure, and instead the Skywrath has just been parked bottom/mid for the majority of the game. So that lost vision could have, potentially saved Arteezy from the first blood in mid, and whereas C9 is just getting a lot more. So eventually this observer ward did go down. That was imperative that EG do something about it.
Successful pull. Universe has been farming up some stacks and is looking to farm up that quick blink dagger, but he's going to need another big stack like that if he hopes to grab it by about that 10-minute mark and start trying to shut down this Brewmaster. What's the plan for this Brewmaster, though? I feel like they maybe don't have enough hold and nuke damage to be able to take down this big tanky guy who is currently sitting at 2,300 gold, so he's already got the blink dagger ready to go.
Yeah, they don't have enough. The supports have been constantly been preoccupied with Skywrath and the Legion Commander and haven't had any time to focus on Fada, and it will be a sub 8-minute blink dagger. He has it right now.
Oh yeah, look at this, the sneaky rotation in, and Fada is looking to be able to set this. They're going to start going on Bone 7 here in this bottom lane. Just a little bit of harassment, but now Fada jumps in with the Spectre ultimate. There goes Sphere, just gets demolished by these three heroes, and PPD is up next. Tier 1 tower, who cares? They're going to make the dive anyway. And mass teleport's coming in. The duel goes off. They will be able to win that one. Zai comes in. Cass ready to go, but the Brewmaster pops his ultimate, and this could be total disaster for Evil Geniuses as Zai caught out inside the jungle. The Cass continuing to bounce around. Will catch out Bone 7 twice. The Voodoo Restoration healing him up quite a bit. He's doing a good amount of juking here as Eternal Levy needs to be able to get his dagger away. Zai is fine. He jukes himself away. And now Fear with the teleport in, chasing away Bone 7. But the rest of these heroes just hiding on the side. Evil Geniuses hoping to be able to claim something off of that big dive of Cloud9, but it doesn't seem like they will.
They aren't scouting either of these two heroes that are just chilling there, and C9 is very well known for playing in the trees, and they have the flying vision from the familiars as well as the invisible wolves to kind of give them some scouting ability, but Fada has been bringing it to them, and that's exactly what you need from your Brewmaster. As soon as you have a good opportunity, blink and ultimate up in 8 minutes time, puts it to good use, gets a few kills, and this is where EG is supposed to have been able to start putting a lot of pressure with their 5-man and their push, but they've incurred too many casualties in the early game.
Yeah, and look at this. We now see the early pushing power capable with the Lycan plus the sustain offered to you by a Voodoo Restoration from the Witch Doctor mixed in with the Visage Familiars. It's so much early physical damage and a lot of sustain as well. The Living Armor Voodoo Restoration, that is so much heal over time.
At the same time, though, the Spectre is just left unchecked. 1-0-1, most CS in the game right now, and they don't really have a good plan to try and kill her over and over again. Maybe once or twice with a couple of ultimates, but Batrider ultimate isn't really going to be enough. They don't really have enough hard lockdown.
And we're seeing these teams do this all the time, being able to free up some room for their supports. It's so important to get level 6 on many of the supports we're running nowadays. We can see the Dazzle is getting some free farm up against Zai, who is sitting at level 5, so close to level 6. If they can get that Death Ward, it'll make a big difference potentially in some of these early fights.
And Arteezy, I mean, he has his farm too, so they need to take out Roshan sometime. I think it'd be a good time for them to take a fight if they can either pick off Panda or make him use his ult for maybe like one support kill.
Oh, wow. Zai able to pick up the kill, but he is going to be giving up a return one there as Fada comes in, hits the clap. Spectre ultimate actually going up, but it looks like he's going to jump to the middle lane, and Zai maybe find back to Eternal Envy, who's going to make his way away from the dagger. Will be able to get out and to teleport away. Fada unable to finish off that Witch Doctor, and that was a bit curious there. Eternal Envy, I think he did that double click with his ultimate where he meant to go to the top lane, I believe, to help contribute his damage to getting that Witch Doctor kill, and instead he ends up jumping just for a second and then jumped to the middle lane.
Yeah, I think that wasn't when he went mid. He just immediately daggered away, and I don't think he planned on being there at that time. Or maybe he like misclicked. He clicked on like the top part of the map, and it actually was a little bit closer to mid than he expected it to be. Still, C9 faring very well.
Yeah, that pickoff. I mean, I can't believe the Witch Doctor able to pick up that early kill on the Dazzle like that. Now we have a bit of a stack that is going to be attempted to be farmed here. 11 minutes in, 4-4. We're seeing Evil Geniuses holding on to just a very small gold lead thanks to a last couple of engagements and a little bit bigger experience lead. But it seems like the laning phase has gone all right for the side of Cloud9. They haven't gone too far into a deficit. They've only lost one tower by 11 minutes in. When are you expecting Evil Geniuses to continue to go for the 5-man? Is it after a 4-staff for Universe? Like, what kind of farm are we looking for? What key specific items do we need for Evil Geniuses before they go into that full 5-man death push?
Well, the one they already need is already up, which is the Batrider Blink Dagger. And right now, the pace of the game has been dictated by Brewmaster as well as a Legion Commander, and EG needs to respond to that by creating pressure around the map with Universe so that C9 can't just split push and farm and just get quick pickoffs with Duel and Skywrath Ultimate or whatever it may be, usually Panda Ultimate too. And then after doing that, they can control more of the map and then get Lycan to the point that he needs to be with Necro 3 and Aegis. But nothing's really happening for EG right now. Their supports didn't do enough on the bottom lane. Fear died immediately after EG got first blood, and that's not a good trade when you're in a 3-on-2 situation. So a lot of bad small trades has happened for EG, which has led to this. I mean, EG is technically a little bit ahead in gold right now, but C9's lineup is not supposed to be ahead in the early game, and them being this close to par bears bad news.
Now, what do you think about Bone 7's build here on the Legion Commander? We talked about it a couple times, the Blade Mail first versus the Blink Dagger, and which one is the better build here? In this game, it feels like there's a lot of offense coming out from Evil Geniuses and potential a lot of 5-manning, so there may not be as many opportunities for pickoffs on the side of Cloud9. So I agree with the Blade Mail, but what are your thoughts?
Well, a lot of Bone 7's item builds, you can't really put to the theory craft test. You're like, oh yeah, this is good because of this. So in this particular situation, you just have to have trust that Bone 7 knows what he's doing, and he usually does. He delivers. So I would say it's good just because he thinks it's a good idea.
And he's always a Blade Mail fan, it seems. So Evil Geniuses.
And they don't have any BKBs on the side of EG, which is also good. And Witch Doctor's ultimate got nerfed so that Blade Mail does hit him when he channels his ultimate. So there's all these small things that add up.
Flash in the middle lane. Arteezy's going to be gone on with the Brewmaster ultimate, but immediately the Overgrowth on the side to be able to hold those Brewlings in place. Bone 7, nice Shallow Grave coming out from AOI. He activates the Blade Mail, doing a lot of damage back at the exact same time. Look at Arteezy getting so damn low. Evil Geniuses are going to be forced to retreat here, unable to get any one pickoff just yet, as the sustain from Cloud9 allows them to hold.
So Cloud9 could have approached this from two different ways. When they see EG's lineup and they see the 5-man, they can either choose to let their T1s and their T2s fall and try and get more farm in the meantime, or they can try and put up a fight very early, which is unconventional with a Spectre. I don't think EG was expected to be met with that much resistance from Cloud9. So they're not allowing them to get the tower gold that they need. They need mech, they need necros, they need towers down for Roshan, and it's all going to come too slowly.
And I feel like these snowball lineups are harmed. Like already in the past, in 6.81, we would see these denies are very important for the side that is trying to play defense. But it seems like they're even more important now, Merlini, as the towers are harder to push. These tier 1 towers refreshing the glyph, the tier 2s getting that extra bit of armor. It seems like overall these 5-man death push lineups have a lot less limited amount of time to be able to work.
Batrider, you saw that failed gank. They had a Observer Ward, but at this time you have to use your smokes. And Batrider should have been smoked up a while ago. He's not with his team right now, but they need to be able to get pickoffs and then transition them into pushes. Ideally on the Brewmaster, but second priority is either Legion Commander or Spectre.
As we see the push in the top lane, it's definitely going to be going down, but Cloud9 are going to try and do something else, but Aoi has already been caught out in this middle lane. Arteezy popping the ultimate, looks to be able to chase him down. Aoi will pop the Shallow Grave and try and teleport out. Universe stops him with the Flame Break, and that will be a pickoff, as well as saving that tier 1 tower. Arteezy wants to go for more here. Not sure if he's really going to be able to chase down Feta as the blink away leads him to be just fine. Meanwhile, Cloud9 are also pushing in this bottom lane, and you can see here comes Bone7. He's going to be running in, looking in for that extra duel damage. The ultimate goes off, couldn't quite get the duel, unfortunately, as that is part of the snowball mechanic for the Legion Commander, but still, at least they get the pick off. Feta jumping in on Zai, does have an ultimate in just 7 seconds, but maybe he doesn't need it. Spectre comes in with the ultimate, throws out the dagger, and should be able to clean up Zai. He's going to live a little bit longer thanks to that Voodoo Restoration, but he has no way out. 5-6, and Cloud9 returning heavy amount of fire to Evil Genius's attempt at aggressive pushing.
That's a rare poor positioning from Zai. He was off to the right side. Batrider Lasso was down, so there wasn't a kill potential there, and just simply dies to Spectre and Panda without Panda having to use his ultimate, and they still had to deal with a Brute ult. But they're getting towers here and there.
And look at that, that bottom tier 1 tower goes down to just the creep wave push. So the damage that they instilled earlier with their push and their bit of a dive was enough to get a very healthy amount of tower bounty for themselves.
Look at E's gold. That's really bad. 3,600.
Ooh, that's huge.
And EG, they have, what, 3 T1 towers down, and C9 has finally taken down 1, and still momentum shifting for C9 and EG. They have to get a Roshan, I'd say, within like the next 7 or 8 minutes, because they're not going to win it with 2 Roshans. They probably need a third one to do significant damage to C9, and if they let C9 get it and Spectre with Aegis, that's almost irreparable damage.
Right, yeah, the Spectre just being able to output so much damage once you have that Radiance, and forget about 1 life, but what about 2? Right now, Evil Genius is kind of on the ropes, so they do have plenty of time to sit back, farm up, and try. At what point do you think this game is unrecoverable, though, for Evil Geniuses? They obviously have a bit more early game, a lot more pushing power. Cloud9 have this very, very strong late game, but at what point do you go, Evil Geniuses can't really do this anymore? Is it the
probably first Roshan for C9, I'd say, is probably the biggest turning point for me. I mean, Lycan can get his items. Looks like he's actually foregoing.
Owie, he's going to be picked off here in this top lane, possibly. The cast comes in, stops him, and holds him in place long enough for the flame break to seal the deal there for Universe, which means he's going to be finishing up his 4-staff. At the same time, though, the push in to this middle lane as Feta continuing the pressure as much as possible around the map. Cloud9 know how to be able to draw out games like this, which means it just not going up against these fights. When Evil Geniuses are 5-banning like that, look for split pushing, look to be able to avoid them as much as possible. If you can, find a pick off, but otherwise just go for trying to take down these other tier 1 towers and making trade-offs.
And prior to this, they were talking about Pylite tactical feeding, and interestingly enough, it's Owie. He's the one that's taking the Batrider ultimates 2 in a row thus far. And Universe, he's only been involved in 3 kills, and none of them on very important heroes. Spectre, 0 deaths to her name. Brewmaster, 0 deaths to his name. And these are the targets that you need to kill.
So what do you think for this Brewmaster? Fata's sitting on a good amount of gold. Is this an obvious Aghanims build for the Brewmaster this game? It feels like the ultimate is the one thing that's keeping these towers intact, because the Brewmaster ultimate has so much team fight.
He hasn't had to use it. That's the sad part.
Yeah, exactly.
So if he gets the Vlads and then they do Roshan, and then what are they going to do about the Spectre? They cannot kill him twice without just losing the fight.
Uh-oh, Eternal Envy's going to be caught up here in the top lane. A surprising gank comes in. Eternal Envy left with just 1 shot at that Death Ward. Will be able to finish him off.
Wow, that was an amazingly executed gank.
Absolutely.
I did not see them getting a kill on the Spectre without the help of Lasso, so I don't think he did either.
Yeah, that was just Zai pretty much coming in with the Death Ward combined with the Visage Familiars dropping in. They were sitting up there in the trees further to the north and came in from behind. That enough of a stun was enough damage for Zai to be able to finish him off. And of course, the Lycan also being able to help out with the Wolves. Arteezy already has Treads, Vlad's, as well as a plate.
Looks like Zai's microing the Familiars.
You know, I was going to ask that. I asked that about yesterday, was that whether or not Zai was going to be microing the Familiars for Fear.
It looks like it.
Well, a full-up Assault Cuirass already finished by this Lycan. I mean, say what you will about Evil Geniuses, but Arteezy is incredibly farmed. He's going to break the 10K mark by 20 minutes in. That's a huge amount of farm. And you can already see what you were talking about earlier.
Range. I think they smoked like right around here, and C9 knows that it's up. But wow, look at that damage. And now I think AC is a fine choice as opposed to Necro because they have so many sources of physical damage.
Jeez, that Aegis is already dropped. Lycan able to pick it up. The Spectre ultimate goes off, but they're unable to do anything with it, despite the fact that Cloud9 knew it didn't seem to matter. They just couldn't get there fast enough, as the overwhelming amount of physical damage and minus armor combines together for Evil Geniuses to take Roshan in just 5 seconds flat.
Yeah, it's imperative that EG takes Roshan. Lycan's a very weak pick if you aren't able to do so. And yeah, the AC is good against Dazzle ultimates. It's good against Legion Commander. It synergizes very well with the Medallion and the physical damage from the Visage Birds, as well as the Witch Doctor ultimate. So fantastic pickup.
And at the same time, maybe Cloud9 didn't necessarily want to take that fight. They're getting so close to that Radiance on the Spectre, and it's one of those things that, do you really want to take a fight? Sure, it's giving up Roshan, giving up the Aegis. That's not ideal. But if you lose that fight and end up losing up the Aegis anyway, it's even worse position. Whereas right now, Cloud9, they got to be pretty happy with where they're sitting, with this Radiance going to be up by 21 minutes, 22 minutes easily.
It goes back to that gank without the lasso, where they were to kill, but Arteezy.
Yep, Arteezy. Bone7 has the Blink Dagger, will be able to duel him, and now they'll drop the ultimate, and Arteezy just gets popped. Winner, winner. Bone7 walks away with some extra damage, and they're just going to walk away. The second life of Arteezy, not worth it for Cloud9 to try and go for. They just get that dual damage, take down the Aegis, and now really limit the advantage that Evil Geniuses will have pushing into those tier 2s.
So yeah, now C9 just needs to play a survive game, and looking at Skywrath, he's already gone for the Ghost Scepter as opposed to something like a Force Staff, just because the physical damage is going to be the biggest threat for them. So they just need to tank up.
Oh, Fada. He's been grabbed here in this middle lane. They're going to try and pop him as soon as possible. Big nuke for Fear, not in time as the ultimate goes off, and now PPD is going to be the target of at least one of these pandas, throwing the Visage up in the air, and he'll just walk himself away with the Earth Panda. Back up top lane, Arteezy gets off his ultimate just before the silence could come in, and should be able to run himself away with that 650 movements. We know he gets caught by the duel. Bone7 snags him, and another big win for Cloud9, not only finishing off the carry of Evil Geniuses, but also more damage for Legion Commander.
And that's the Radiance for Spectre. It's coming right now.
Yeah, that is huge.
Fantastic timing.
PPDs, you really want to take this one? He's going up against Pylon Die. Universe is going to come in and help out. Pylon Die has nowhere to run to, nowhere to hide, and will burn out as that fire takes him down. Eternal Envy kind of looking for some revenge here. Bone7 just chasing him down. The dagger not quite snagging Universe. They actually slowed down. Oh, look at that Death Ward! Eternal Envy, they've got nowhere to go. The cast finishes them off, and now Bone7, he's got to run his way through the trees, but he's completely trapped. Blink Dagger to the side. Zai still looking for him. And does he really have enough damage for this one? Bone7, they run into each other and clash, but Bone7, he pops the blade mail. Maybe he can actually get a kill off of this one. Throws in, Fada comes in with the clap, and it might be disaster for Evil Geniuses. 3 heroes potentially going down. PPD just barely surviving as the heal comes out, but still, their turnaround from Cloud9 as Evil Geniuses overextend themselves, and Fada drop 1, drop 2, drop 3, and they finish off the Brewmaster. The return kill from Bone7 gets it at least, but 10-10, Evil Geniuses still overextending themselves despite the pickoffs, overextending themselves up against Cloud9 and the power of the Legion Commander, the Brewmaster, when they've had very successful laning phase.
That's twice that Zai has made something out of nothing, though. Without the plays of his Witch Doctor, they'd be in a really deep hole, and they have killed Spectre twice at this point, too. Still, Radiance is online, and after a couple more items, the time is ticking for them.
Arteezy gonna be caught out once again, gets off the ultimate again before the silence can go, but the duel is in place and the ultimate is dropped. Arteezy falls yet again. The most farmed here on the side of Evil Genius is being routinely picked off as he just tries to farm. He's not even trying to do that much like aggressive amount of pushing. He's not trying to go into tier 3s or anything like this so early, and yet he's still being picked off time and time again.
And really, that's the only thing to hold the Lycanthrope in place, especially with the new buff move speed. They have a lot of slows, but nothing really besides Boulder Stun, which is very minimal, and Legion Commander's Duel, which is really good, especially since he doesn't have a BKB to deal with the blade mail damage, and he just gets destroyed by himself.
Evil Genius is still shy of those big key items you were talking about before. As you take the towers, you want to be able to pick up a mech on one of your supports. PPD is working on it, but still a ways away. Universe is actually going to be finishing up a Yule Scepter in not too long of a time, and the Aghanims for Zai is coming up as well. You can see Universe is searching for some of those heroes that could be hiding in the trees. That was something that Cloud9 are known for, is it just sitting in the trees, waiting for enemy to be able to push out the lanes, and then sneaking around behind to execute them in a fashion.
And the Yields is going to come out soon for Batrider, and that's a very good counter versus Legion Commander, but she's going to have a BKB very shortly after he has it. So it's still not a good solution for it. They need the BKB on the Lycanthrope to deal with it.
Here comes Cloud9, running in, looking to be able to counterward whatever they can. They're going to run into Universe. Oh, quick blink away. Gets them out. Cloud9 still pursuing there. They're going to pop the Spectre Ultimate, trying to catch up to Universe. Another counterward being laid down, but Universe is going to be able to get away with his invis. And Cloud9 hoping for a lot there, and maybe that leaves them a bit exposed. The Spectre Ultimate being used there, another smoke being popped. Sure, it's not a Brewmaster Ultimate by any means, but it is a slight edge for Evil Geniuses that maybe they can go on the offensive in the next minute and a half while that Spectre Ultimate is down.
Still, C9 is the one playing aggressively. They're the one that's on the opposite side of the map, and they're not forced to protect Spectre. Instead, they're just looking for opportunities that Spectre can get even larger than she already is. And EG, they have this 5-man lineup, but they haven't even taken out 2 of the T2s. And still, they do have the Roshan factor going for them, and that they can take it down in about less than 10 seconds time, probably around 5. But still, the bigger threat, Spectre, 1,500 gold.
And you gotta factor in these flying rats as well. The Visage Familiars pushing in this top lane constantly. It's always at the tier 3, it seems, and Cloud9 are constantly forced back to try and defend it. And with the Spectre Ultimate being down, it means he can't just be solo there. Meanwhile, that push is happening. They're also pushing in the middle lane. Looks like the tier 2 gonna be completely given up by the side of Cloud9, as that's a fight they just don't feel comfortable taking just yet.
I'm surprised that Universe didn't go for a Hex. I think that'd be a slightly better pickup than the Yules, just so they can kill Panda before he gets his ultimate off. And we saw in mid they had 3 people there. They didn't have their Lycanthrope there, but they need to kill Fada and then transition that into a much larger objective, ideally to T3s.
So is the BKB like the go-to item now for the Lycan? Once they finish that up, I feel like Evil Geniuses are definitely on a timer. Like they need to try and get a big team fight push in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Is it BKB, Aegis, and then just go all in?
Yes, but they need to play it with finesse, though. It's not an all-in brute force strat. They're not far ahead enough to even do so. It's 5,000 gold lead for them. Maybe they can accrue it to like 8,000 by the time they push high ground, but they have to trade ultimates. They have to get the Panda ultimate down, they have to get Haunt down, and they have to get the Duel down, ideally for the Aegis, but it's not going to be that clean at all. If they lose 2 supports as well as Lycanthrope to those ultimates, then they're going to lose the fight. So they have to try and play around that and play very, very carefully.
Well, looking at it, 27.5 minutes in, it's 10-11 right now. We're seeing about a 6,000 gold lead for the side of Evil Geniuses and about a 2,000 experience lead. Cloud9 are looking to be able to just hold this out and draw the game out as much as possible. But the biggest thing that, as you were saying before, is the fact that Cloud9 have been able to be on the offensive. And that is a very determining factor. It goes to show how far ahead they are, as they should just always be huddled around, trying to protect the Spectre, trying to get that next bit of farm. But the truth is, Evil Geniuses, they're holding so little control of this game that they can't even gank and put any pressure on the Spectre. Instead, it's the other way around. Evil Geniuses have been playing a lot of defense. I think they realize how far behind that they are, and they're just looking to farm up, looking to get that next set of items. They know they're behind, but they know they've got a good shot at being able to take one of these 30 to 35 minute team fights. Maybe they can finish up a Rax, and then that kind of stretches out your timeline a little bit more. You don't necessarily need to take another set of Rax for a good while.
EG's not behind in the normal metric sense.
Right.
It's 7,000 net worth lead, and they had the first Roshan, but C9 can easily lose the game just by having one really bad fight, but the game shouldn't have been developed to this point, and EG probably expected to have all the T2 towers down by, I'd say, like 23 minutes, let's say. And you were right in that BKB is the big item to be waiting for, but I don't actually think it is on the Lycan. I actually say it's more on the Witch Doctor. Witch Doctor already has his Ags, and Lycan BKB is a necessity. The Witch Doctor getting the BKB is a luxury item that they need in order to win, because they don't have anything that can stop. Are you really going to be having to duel the Witch Doctor to stop it? And that's the only thing that can stop it, through a BKB ultimate. And they actually don't have that much physical damage to just straight kill him during it too. And if they wanted to, they could perhaps invis him maybe prior to it, or just dump living armor, or Overgrowth too. Overgrowth was BKB, they can't stop him at all.
I'm finding myself surprised at the amount of farm that Evil Geniuses and a lot of their supports have been able to pick up so far. You talked about the Aghanims for the Witch Doctor and a potential BKB in the future, but we also have Fear, who is suffering quite heavily in all of these early engagements, has yet to pick up a single kill despite being a part of 5 of them, and he's looking to be able to grab a Shiva's Guard here, which is another significant upgrade for them going into these team fights, and a good counter to the Spectre, who's has running a lot of physical damage, but even just the slow can pay off big dividends in these 5 versus 5 team fights.
So Roshan is up for a second time. I wonder if EG can actually use this to get a T3 or trade it for Spectre or Legion Commander's life. But EG doesn't want to start losing their T1s.
Oh, Universe gets spotted out there, and Pylai die. His long-range nuke will be able to chase away Universe, who is looking for a pickoff and potentially dragging someone back to the Tier 1 tower with an additional teleport. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to find it, and Evil Geniuses may actually be pushed away from this tower, knowing that there is no Batrider initiation, which seems to be the ultimate setup right now. Cloud9, if the Batrider's not there, if there's no initiation, if there's no way to be able to pop the Brewmaster early on in the team fights, it seems like Cloud9 should be able to easily win it.
But now Universe is reunited with this team, so Fada can't be up there to stop the Lycanthropes or Lycanthrope Wolves, as well as the Familiars from beating on the tower. And they don't really want to give this up for free.
Jump in, they're going to be able to grab Arteezy once again. The drag back is going to be able to snag Bone 7. He will be dying. That Witch Doctor ultimate just ripping through everyone. As Arteezy still alive after that initiation, he'll be fine. Cloud9 trying to get Owie out as far as possible. A little bit of heal. The Brewmaster may be going down here. This is the last Panda alive. Another right click should be able to do it. Shallow grave on the Earth Panda, and that's going to be enough to save Fada, as he's now full health trying to get back to his Tier 3 tower. Unsure if Evil Geniuses are really going to be able to push that down. They got 2 pickoffs, 2 big pickoffs too. The Spectre as well as the Legion Commander. They got a Tier 2, and now backing up to do Roshan.
Man, Zai has been the MVP for EG this game.
Absolutely.
Clearly. 5, 2, and 3 on him, and his Witch Doctor has been the only deaths for Spectre this game.
Yeah, that was such a rough team fight because there was no stopping Zai. They had nobody be able to stop that one whatsoever. And, well, as the pause comes out, 12-1, 12-11 rather, 31 minutes in, we have that gold lead climbing up even further into the hands of Evil Geniuses, sitting almost 10,000 gold ahead now, and about a 3,000 experience lead. And with this big pickup, if they can manage to secure Roshan, get the Aegis on their side as well, they're looking a lot better than they were in 5 minutes ago. As you said, this lead that Evil Geniuses has is, if you just look at the metrics, it seems like, yeah, they're definitely winning the game. But if you look at just the way that their lineup is set, the draft from Cloud9, which feels like a lot more late game oriented, and the farm that the Spectre has, that net worth that she's holding on to, she can do a lot more potentially than the Lycan can. As you said, one bad team fight is all it takes for Evil Geniuses to be able to take a Rax and potentially win the whole entire game. But Cloud9 do have a ton of defense here. It seems like it's going to be all about the initiation. Whether or not Fada can actually get off that ultimate and be the initiator for his team, or if Evil Geniuses find that pick off with the Batrider, snag one of those critical carries, and then at the same time be able to separate Zai enough that he gets off that Death Ward that played so much havoc in that last team fight.
Yeah, it looked like everything was going very well for C9, and Spectre had his relic up, and then boom, Zai kills him, and then he gets his ratings, and then boom, Zai kills him again, and then now he's working towards his Manta style, and he's died a 3rd time. And Lycanthrope has also taken 3 deaths, but he's just been able to farm a lot more because it's a Lycanthrope, and they have Roshans, and they have more towers. So I expected EE to be much closer to Arteezy's farm at this point in the game, but with those 3 critical deaths, it has not come to that.
Yeah, what do you think about this? Fada looks like he's not going to be going for an Aghanims this build, and this seems like classic Fada. He tends to go for the more damage-oriented build on the Brewmaster. It seems like he's going to be going for the Assault Cuirass, which will help offset the Assault Cuirass advantage from the Lycan. That very early pickup, that's definitely going to help out quite a bit. Do you think this is the best idea, the best choice of items for him, though?
Well, I don't really think he has trouble surviving. I'd say still the biggest problem is interrupting Witch Doctor's ultimate, and no one has gotten for a Yule Scepter, and Orchid is not really that great here either. Basher, not really an option. So I guess his best option is to go for more survivability, but somebody has to interrupt the Witch Doctor ultimate, and items aren't really going to save that.
Yeah, it seems like really that's the clincher here for the side of Evil Geniuses. While Arteezy's doing an amazing amount of physical damage every team
he
fight.
He didn't even die that fight. They used everything on him. They blinked and duel, blade mail, and then dropped the Mystic Flare and the Haunt, and they still didn't kill him.
Yeah, solely because that Death Ward plus the initiation, the counter initiation,
And
rather, from the Bat Rider.
Tree ultimate.
Yeah,
they've run this combo a fair amount in the past, but I don't think I've seen them run it in 6.82.
And we're back in. Roshan, look at this. Just gets torn up. The poor big guy does not stand a chance. Age is going to be picked up from the side of Arteezy as an extra life for him, especially since he's so damn big. He's only gone to 16,000 net worth, 32 minutes into this game. His gold per minute sitting at about 560. Pretty insane amount of farm for Arteezy this game.
And Ichi actually has a surprising amount of sustain to deal with a Spectre. The way that usually Spectres win the middle late game team fights is they go in, they die, they haunt, and then they clean up everybody. And then there's so much damage done that the buyback use doesn't matter. But with this lineup, if as soon as he ultimates, Treant Protector can just ulti, everyone can run away, or they can use Witch Doctor ultimate to just kill everything. And then on top of that, they have Treant armor, they have Nature's Guise, and C9 hasn't had a gem yet, or have they picked one up yet? No, they've actually lost a couple of kills because of no reveal. And then they have the Witch Doctor Voodoo Restoration, and Lycan's not going to take any damage because he has lifesteal as well as AC as well as BKB, and just being a Lycan himself. So no one's actually really low after EE dies.
Oh, Eternal Envy. He's been snagged up here in this top lane, and they will be able to pop him nice and quick as Universe mixed in with the Lycan Wolves and Illusions was enough damage to be able to finish him off. And that is a huge pickoff right there. I mean, losing your Spectre, the biggest hero on your team, to what is essentially a solo Bat Rider, a gank like that. It's got to be pretty demoralizing. It's got to shut you down pretty hard. And Evil Geniuses, they were already controlling the map pretty heavily before, but with that pickoff, they're going to push down both this middle lane as well as the top lane. And perhaps this is the opening they need to go uphill.
Yeah, and in a normal situation, Spectre would be like completely like okay for the majority of these ganks. You're like, oh, okay, Bat Rider's not here, I'm perfectly safe. And then there's just extra damage from illusions or Viscous Familiars that he didn't account for.
And tier 3 just being chipped down by the Familiars as well as Arteezy's Wolves. The whole entire zoo is out in force to be able to get these buildings. They're going to go first for the range racks. Cloud9 sitting on the side waiting for the Spectre, and are going to be looking to initiate soon. They need to make sure this melee Rax doesn't go down. The initiation from the side, the smoke is popped, and Bone 7 goes straight for his eye. They're going to shut down this big damage shield. Their ultimate even being dropped. There's the win. Arteezy at the same time is beginning to eat through these Brewmaster ultimates, trying to go one by one, takes down the Stone 1, turn in, Bone 7 looking to be able to fight up here very, very low as the lasso goes on to Eternal Envy. They're trying to just make sure that everyone gets out, but it doesn't seem to matter. The ultimate just rips through everyone there. Farther to the right side, Arteezy now going to be slowed down, no longer has that ultimate, and he has the Aegis as well. This could be potentially 2 different deaths for him, as he's just going to be kited out over and over again. Eternal Envy getting chased down by the Familiars. Drop 1, 2, and 3. Will be able to hold up a lot of these heroes. Gives up the Aegis now. Cloud9 resetting the team fight, and I think they've got this, man. Arteezy doesn't have his ultimate for another 15 seconds. No way out. The slows will just barely be able to keep him in place. And Bone 7, look at this. They're even going to be able to have another duel. Oh, the attempt at the invis is not going to be good enough. And Cloud9 gets another win. A big team fight. Any PPD? Oh, just barely gets away. One last strike from going down, but at the very least, he gets out. Evil Geniuses, though. Terrible team fight for them as they lose so many heroes. Unfortunately, our fight recap only going to show us the one from the Lycan. But even just that one pick-off itself was such a huge swing. That's 1,700 gold swing right there, plus another 2,000 experience on Cloud9 from one hero.
And Spectre got the majority of the kills. And finally, they found the winning recipe for team fights. Hey, let's just dual Zai because he's the majority of the damage. And Lycanthrope, he's going to be able to do damage during BKB. Well, actually, technically not because they have Grave and Ghost Scepter, but he's still going to do a lot of damage regardless. And they weren't able to kill him last time, so they probably aren't going to be able to kill him after he survived the last one when they threw everything. So they went for a much smarter plan this time. And I actually think the Overgrowth came a slightly late. I don't know if he would have survived if he had cast it earlier, but it would have been a little bit closer. And without the Death Ward damage, they just got rocked. Lycan got kited so hard after his BKB was down. He's got Cyclone lifted up in the air, and then his Shapeshift Ward out, and then when his Aegis revived him, it didn't even matter at this point. So next, Roshan is going to be incredibly important. And C9's finally in a position where, hey, we won a big fight. We got Spectre pretty fat. He's finally picked up his second item, which is a Manta style, and he will have his third very, very soon. And they may be able to contest it, but they don't have this T1 tower down. And some of it's due to the virtue of the tree, and most of it is due to virtue of C9 not being able to push at all.
Yeah, the BKB being finished off by the Witch Doctor is obviously going to be a huge part of this next team fight. As you said, this kind of forces Cloud9 now. When they go for targeting, do they actually duel up the Witch Doctor and leave the Spectre alone? Pilot Eye's going to be dragged back there, snagged by Universe. Now the ultimate coming out from Arteezy. Look at home, just going to be 2 shots, but the Shellgrave saves him. For the time being, it's going to throw the Wolves out. That Witch Doctor ultimate going down, but finally, it will be stopped. Bone 7 fighting up against 2 here, will be dying as Zai lives through all of it, and the Brewmaster ultimate also going to be cleaned up here, trying to get the Storm Panda away. Should be just fine. Eternal Envy slowing down what could be a big push for Evil Geniuses after 2 pickoffs like that.
Man, the Witch Doctor carry is real.
It is very real. Even just that small amount of time with his Death Ward out, it did so much damage. And Bone 7 had the right idea. Jumped in, dueled, stopped that Death Ward as soon as possible. But he just got ripped a new one with Evil Geniuses surrounding that Witch Doctor, protecting him as much as possible and taking down the enemy combatant. And that means Witch Doctor, well, it's something small. An extra 18 damage for him.
Man, that's an easy Rax. They don't want to risk losing Bone 7 since he just uses buyback, and Spectre doesn't have his haunt, although he does have buyback, so he can't really come to the fight twice, and they really don't want to lose him twice. So Roshan is probably going to be a next objective for EG, and C9 has to come up with a response to that. Panda's time to shine is pretty much nearly over, I'd say, at this point. Yes, he's played a fantastic first 25 minutes of the game, but this is when Panda starts to fall off, and I don't really know what else they have to deal with it. Like Skywrath and Dazzle, they're pretty much non-factor to this point, and Legion Commander has had to duel the Witch Doctor, so he can't really do that much in terms of being able to rack up lots of damage and just control everyone else in the fight.
Well, now let's talk about the Brewmaster. You said that it is about the time he drops up. With this kind of build, with the non-Aghanims build, I would say that he is in less of danger of dropping off as much. He's still going to drop off a little bit, but you look at some of his abilities, that critical especially, the Drunken Brawler, the evasion mixed in with the critical, it can allow him to be a pretty good brawler even going into late game. Do you think that they still have, do you think this is still, even if we push this 50 minutes in, Cloud9 solidly have the late game, or are we seeing Evil Geniuses with this Witch Doctor ultimate? Is it actually enough to be able to add enough damage to help Arteezy carry these late game team fights?
Well, it's not only that. They have the Visage too. You can't forget about his Ags with the medallion on him, and then any sort of physical damage that he may be able to output is going to be mitigated by Treant Protector ultimate too. He can't get damage and BKB and like HP too. He can't get everything.
Right.
So, and then on top of that, he tried to tank Lycan, or actually LC tanked Lycan last time, but Lycan does a lot of damage now. He has heart, so you can't really kill him in a duel, and you also can't really leave him alone either.
Evil Geniuses, they took that top lane of Rax and are now going to be going in for the bottom push and force Cloud9.
C9 cannot defend Roshan. Like, look at EG's position right now. They're just surrounding the Roshan pit. There's no way C9 can be there in like a 10-second window to stop it.
Right. I mean, they take down Roshan so quickly, and you know Evil Geniuses, they're going to be able to just go ahead and sit there, wait for Roshan to come up, and when they see the correct opportunity, when one hero is out of position or something along those lines, they'll sneak in, do Roshan, like you said, 10 seconds flat. It's going to require some miracle timing from Cloud9 if they hope to be able to defend that. Evil Geniuses now going to start pushing uphill, going in for that tier 3 tower. Arteezy's going to be on the front lines. At the same time, look at what Universe is doing. He's looking for his opening jump in. Feta just backing up Arteezy. Now Universe shows himself looking in for the long range grab on Bone 7. And this could be big as Zai pops his BKB. Let it go, Zai, let it go. That Aghanim's ripping through everyone as it bounces around. Continue to go. Eternal Envy and the rest of his crew will be able to back themselves up. Nobody dying thanks to a beautiful shallow grave from Aoi that saves the Legion Commander's life, and Cloud9 successfully defend up against what should have been a great team fight for Evil Geniuses.
It's very funny how these team fights has developed.
No jump in, Bone 7 wants some more. He goes for Arteezy, trying to drop him as soon as possible, but look at him, he's so damn tanky. Feta lives with the shallow grave, but just for a bit longer. Bone 7, he just doesn't have the damage to finish off Arteezy to fall, and Arteezy lives. Now searching for Aoi. He's going to be slowed down by Universe, plus the slow from Fear. That'll be enough for a third pickoff, and Eternal Envy left alone against the world to be able to defend his base. I'm not sure how he's going to be able to distract them long enough to keep his tier 3 alive. Eternal Envy moving to the left. Aoi's now going to join him. Nice buyback. attacks from the side of Cloud9 as Feta finds his initiation, but without the ultimate, can he actually do enough? Eternal Envy getting low. He's going to just embrace death here. The Shallow Grave keeping him alive for a little bit longer. Feta getting low. He's going to drop a secondary time. Spectre buying back, looking for the ultimate, but it's over. Evil Geniuses are going to be taking this game 1 against Cloud9. Unbelievable performance there from Evil Geniuses.
That was fantastic draft by EG, and I think Cloud9 pretty much played the best that they could with the lineup that they were given, but it was just too greedy, and that has been C9's struggle for many of their recent losses.
I understand. I mean, both you and I were talking about it. We felt like Cloud9 had a certain advantage. They did well enough in the laning phase and were able to make that transition where